Danny Danon is Israel's permanent representative to the UN. When he is not embarrassing Israel on the world stage, Danon spends a significant chunk of his time campaigning for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, or what he calls voluntary migration. This strategy mimics the strategy outlined by former National Security Council head 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐫, articulated as early as the 8th of October to create a humanitarian crisis in Gaza that forces the population out. This timing is important because it shows that the current crisis in Gaza, with millions now starving and displaced, is not an accident, but instead carefully crafted Israeli policy. Danon in mid-December would publish a 5-point plan for Gaza. Step 4 of this plan is what he called voluntary migration. I don't understand why they continue to keep using the word voluntary. What he claims to mean by this is that Gazan residents who so wish would be given the opportunity to leave Gaza. Put together though with the fact that Israel are destroying their homes and attempting to give them no chance but to leave, this is far from voluntary migration and much more like forceful displacement and ethnic cleansing, in line with the creation of a humanitarian crisis that would force the Palestinians to leave. Danon would complain in late December that the IDF had not been creating enough destruction in Gaza after the temporary ceasefire. It seems that Danon wanted to see an increase in the destruction of Gaza, an increase in the amount of Palestinians being displaced. In early January, the Times of Israel reported that there were ongoing discussions to find countries who would take the Palestinians in. Make no mistake, these plans articulated by Danon are PR modified proposals to bring about the mass expulsion of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. And this brings us to the focus of this video. In a recent Sky News interview, Sky News host Belle Donati would, unlike many in the media mainstream, have the courage to call out this perverse Danon rhetoric. She pointed out how him saying that the Gazans would voluntarily leave Gaza would be much like saying the Jews were voluntarily moved during the Holocaust.
And I think anyone in the world who voluntarily wants to move to another country should be eligible to do that. But you know what? It's not the first time that we hear those allegations. I think
the sort of voluntary relocation of many Jewish people during the Holocaust, I imagine. It is not voluntary relocation.
Compare that? Shame on you for that comparison.
Let us please.
Instead of responding to the substance of her objection, Danon would instead fall into a fit, accusing her of anti-Semitism. Whilst many online appreciated her courage, Sky News would come out a mere hours later and offer an apology for her comments, and to Danny Danon personally.
The Sky News presenter made a comparison between Mr. Danon's comments on Israel's war with Hamas and the treatment of Jewish people in the Holocaust. Sky News recognised the complete inappropriateness of this comparison and the offensive nature of those comments. Sky News would like to apologise unreservedly for the comparison and to Mr. Danon personally.
That apology, even though many would argue it should never have come, was not enough for Danon. He came out a while later demanding that Donati is terminated from Sky News. She must now be sacked. She needs to lose her job. This is textbook intimidation. Israeli politicians and public figures are hardly ever pushed and interrogated properly in the mainstream media. And on one of the rare occasions that they were, the media organization has apologized and there are calls for the presenter to be sacked. Why should Sky News apologize for asking questions, whilst Danon is not asked to apologize for supporting the destruction of Palestinian homes and the expulsion of Palestinians from Gaza? Israeli spokespeople and politicians, despite claiming to be a democracy, operate with entitlement. They are almost shocked whenever a presenter dares to question them and push back on their rhetoric. In this telling clip from an interview with the IDF's French spokesperson, the IDF official, when asked about Israel's lack of evidence regarding tunnels under Al-Shifa Hospital, said that it was unacceptable for a democracy, referring to France, to ask another democracy, referring to Israel, these questions. And all the while, politicians like Danny Danon himself are allowed to continue campaigning for the expulsion of Gazans. I mean, they use terms like voluntary migration, but in reality, all of us know what that means. The Gazans leaving Gaza. They are allowed to continue this rhetoric whilst maintaining credibility and legitimacy within the West. Absolutely shocking. If you like our work and you're a fan of everything that we are doing with regards to the news reporting, then do click the subscribe button down below and share our channel with your friends and your family.